The harbor on Thomas's branch line needed repairs. Each morning, Percy brought the workmen an old slow coach and spent the day taking trucks of supplies to and from the quay. Old slow coach stayed at the harbor, providing shelter and shade for the men. She didn't mind this a bit. She was happy to help and loved being by the sea. Daisy couldn't understand it. One morning, as Percy collected workmen, she caught a rather briny smell. Phew, she sniffed. When was your last washdown, dear? Sorry, laughed old slow coach. I suppose that's what happens when you're at the harbor all day. A coach of your make should be carrying passengers, not workmen. Daisy shuddered. Oh well, blushed old slow coach. I think it's best I leave passengers to the experts. I'm quite content with my position. It's lovely to be of assistance. What do those dirty workmen have to offer? Just imagine, you and I, running the lines from your passenger service. Oh, be off, Daisy, snapped Percy. You can't take the milk without making a fuss, let alone a coach. Daisy wasn't deterred. She knew old slow coach could be put to better use and was keen to prove it. The next day, old slow coach was having a tune-up at the carriage sheds. She was upset she wasn't going to the harbor. But Percy promised he'd come back for her when she was ready, and Toby took the men and Henrietta. Daisy's chance had come. Quite soon, Thomas arrived with Annie and Clarabel. The station master strode up. Will you take old slow coach to the harbor? Percy needs her to bring the workmen home, but he's tied up with the trucks. Bother, muttered Thomas. He was hot and looking forward to cooling off in the shed. No need for that, Daisy interjected. I'm heading up the line soon. I'll take her darling coach with me. A little countryside run is sure to cheer her up. Thomas, Annie, and Clarabel were speechless, and secretly, the coaches were a little jealous. Soon, Daisy brought old slow coach to the platform. The passengers flocked curiously to the old carriage. Go on, get in, urged Daisy. But, stammered old slow coach as she was boarded. No fussing, dear, Daisy replied. We don't want to be late. The guard's whistle blew, and they set off. Daisy was pleased with herself, and the passengers were enjoying the journey. Old slow coach, on the other hand, felt uneasy. At the next station, she was boarded by more passengers. I knew you'd be a hit. Coo, Daisy, you're such a magnificent coach. Wait, pleaded old slow coach to the passengers. You're not meant to travel in me. The guard's whistle blew. No time to lose, called Daisy, and they were off again. All the while, old slow coach grew increasingly uncomfortable. Derek and his connecting train were at the junction. He was quite surprised to see Daisy pull in with coach in tow. My, he gasped. What a ravishing sight you two are. That's what I've been telling her. Daisy smirked. See, dear, imagine us doing this every day. No, old slow coach snapped. Daisy and Derek went pale. Oh, dear, stammered Derek. Look at the time. Oh, must be off. He can't be late. He scuttled away as quickly as he could. As I very plainly told you, Coach said sharply, I like working with Percy. I like helping the workmen. And I like being by the sea. I want nothing more to do with your passengers. Take me to the harbor at once. The station master heard the commotion and noticed the passengers and coach. Sincerest apologies, folks, but this coach won't be going to the end of the line. The passengers were ushered into Daisy, and she left the junction stunned and silent. Daisy felt terrible. She hadn't made Coach happy at all. She'd only done what she wanted. What she wanted now was to apologize, but felt a lump in her throat when she tried to speak. She was so lost in thought, she ran through Torierick Station without stopping or noticing the points were diverting her to the harbor. Crow's Farm crossing lay ahead. Son, the farmer, who was not the most attentive of sorts, had led his horses out to pasture. Unfortunately, he wasn't keeping a close eye. One horse slipped away from the farm and down towards the railway. Despite Toby's advice, Daisy still felt uncomfortable with the animals. She glided silently towards the crossing, lost in thought, when... Yikes! Cried her driver. A horse stood on the line, with brakes screeching. Daisy stopped just in time. The noise startled the horse. It bucked and neighed frantically, which frightened Daisy so much that she blew a fuse. Ugh! She yelped, hooting her horn. Get away, get away! Calm down, Daisy, scolded old slow coach. It's reacting to your fright. Stop making such a racket! Daisy took a deep breath, trying to keep calm. To her surprise, the horse began to settle. They're there, said old slow coach. It's all right. Daisy was about to reply, but realized Coach wasn't talking to her, but to the horse. The horse's ears perked up. It trotted skittishly towards Coach. Don't be frightened, she whispered. You're safe now? The horse snorted and stood happily by Coach, flicking its tail. Soon enough, some came running along. He apologized profusely to Daisy and her driver, thanked old slow Coach, and led the horse back to the pasture. Amused as they were by the horse, the passengers were not pleased to be late and going the wrong way. Bertie arrived with Daisy's fitter, then took the passengers to the big station. When her engine was fixed, Daisy set off for the harbor once more. "How did you know to do that?" she asked, still a little shaky. "A few of the workmen on farms," Coach replied. "They often talk about their horses and how they calm them down. I never imagined I'd have to put their tricks to use." She laughed. Daisy chuckled. "I'm glad you were here to help, even if it was against your wishes," she sighed. "I'm sorry I didn't listen." "And I'm sorry I snapped," replied Coach. "You were only trying to make me happy." "If being at the harbor makes you happy," smiled Daisy, "then I'm glad to be taking you there." And with that, the two friends sped off happily towards the sea.